Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last episode of Beyond the Grey. So, today, as you can see, I'm sitting on this chair. Um, I'll be the one getting interviewed and I'll answer the questions today.
How does it feel to, have the roles reversed today?
Feels very weird. I'm not used to this.
Feels like an
at
episode
all.
of Freaky Friday too, doesn't it? So, hi guys, I'm your host today. You have seen me in the first episode. So,
First and last.
exactly. We are just completing a circle here.
The thing is, she is the only person I could trust with
The questions.
the questions. And like this entire episode, you can handle it.
I
And you
hope so.
can.
So, my first question is, what inspired you to, start Beyond the Grey? What exactly, was your thought process into starting this podcast? And why Beyond the Grey?
So, this will be a long answer. Starting off, my mug today, it's partly inspired by Shujita, by BTS's Yoongi. He has this podcast type of thing where celebrities who are coming up with something new, they are invited to share their journey up until now and their current project and their future plans, which was the layout I decided for Beyond the Grey. And also, my first visual podcast ever was Trash Taste, which is on YouTube, and that inspired the anime episode as well. So those two podcasts really spoke to me. I love watching podcasts, but like only those
Unpopular opinion.
only those two.
Fair.
Other than that, I'm not really a podcast person. So, and then when I thought that, what should I do for my final project? Let's just do what I always wanted to do. It was something like, getting to know a person. It's very fun. Like delving into why they are doing what they are doing. What's the reason? What motivates them? What drives them? That is something which made me do it.
Makes sense. But why did you name it Beyond the Grey? What is the story behind Beyond the Grey?
So it was named Beyond the Grey. One day we both were sitting together and I was talking about how I wanted to make a podcast about things which usually people do not talk about. Mentioned many times before in this podcast. Things which people do not know. That is something which you are experiencing, no one else is going to know about that. So we look at things black and white. It's either black or white. But the grey part, which no one knows, which only you know yourself, that is what I wanted to do.
You wanted to keep it
Dive
raw because people generally don't talk about such things, which is great. That is why personally Beyond the Grey spoke to me a lot. So what basically inspired you to pursue BGMC and this field particularly?
Okay. I pursued PGMC because I was lost. That's it. I was very lost. And everything I liked doing, it suddenly stopped appealing to me. It was not appealing anymore, and I was like, I don't want to do anything. So I had a talk with my mama, and he said, why don't you go for BGMC? You have so many options after that. So, yeah, to get many options, I chose this. That's
What about now? Do you think you have a lot of options? Have you discovered any of them?
I still have a lot of options. That is a thing which I'm glad I chose BGMC for. But I don't think I've settled on one yet. There are many options which I'm still looking at. I can go into PR, but I find it kind of boring. I can go into advertising, but I don't know if I want it because at the same time, I really like production.
Makes sense, makes sense. Completely. So, you've been a part of a production house. You've talked about it so many times during this podcast itself. But the whole point of asking this question again is like we get to dwell into people's mind. who had different jobs completely. Even though we worked together as a team and we were doing each other's jobs many of the times. But what exactly that individual, you know, got out of that chunk of work that we did is what I wanted to ask you. Like, what did you experience there?
I think I learned a lot of things which I never thought I'm capable of.
Okay.
There were many things like I did not know I was so good with angles,
She
camera
is.
angles. I was surprised. Like this is kind of good. Maybe I should handle the social media, which I did,
You did.
and it was fun. I did not find it pressurizing or something like zabardasti karna pad raha hai. That was not the case. I actually enjoyed what I was doing.
But since you're the only person I know of who consumes a lot of content, and like it's not just restricted to one particular genre. So what is your favorite movie? I'd ask you, and what genre speaks out to you the most?
I don't have one favorite movie. That will be very.
This is like a letterbox interview by Ragini.
Answering one movie, that is I'd say right now what comes to my mind is Princess Mononoke.
Okay.
And a genre which I really enjoy would be psychological thrillers. They are my favorite. You can make me watch any psychological thriller anytime.
Okay, who's your favorite director?
My favorite director is Ari Aster and Hayao Miyazaki.
Okay. What exactly about their work, speaks out to you the most? Because you've recommended me so many movies, and I've personally seen their movies, and they spoke out to me a lot as well. But why? What exactly got you into that?
Okay, so I feel like both these directors answering this, it's very basic to answer this. Like everyone knows these two directors, but Miyazaki's work, personally, it speaks to me so well. It makes you reconnect with your inner child. The things they make you want to do what you like to do as a child. Pursue your childhood passion again. Clean your room. Very basic things, and they make me emotional. So that is why I love Studio Ghibli films. They are the best. And talking about Ari Aster, it's just he has redefined new modern horror.
Completely.
He has redefined it completely, and he's after a point, Conjuring and Insidious. These movies started being not so scary to people, or maybe just like इनके अलावा कोई और movie है ही नहीं अच्छी.
Cliched as
हाँ.
well.
And all the movies were repetitive. Now those movies which he has made, they are so new.
They're
They are
changing
so
the
fresh.
dynamic of horror and thriller movies. That is completely what I agree with. So you've pursued a lot of internships as well, right? I'd like to talk about the one that you joined the last one, the last internship that you did. You did in a PR agency, and it was a very reputed agency. What was your learning outcome from it, and did it encourage you to pursue PR?
Definitely did not encourage me to pursue PR. In fact, my supervisor was like, if you find this boring, I can understand. Try going for advertising. You might like it. So that was the thing. It did not encourage me, but good money.
I mean, fair.
Good money.
PR is good money.
Good money. I was thinking like, oh my god, must be so difficult approaching people and making contacts. It is difficult, but it's not that difficult. I did not know it was kind of easy. You have to be
Understandable.
persistent, you have to be hardworking, but it's not scary.
I feel like this is something we can, let people know about how when we enter the, corporate world from something like from a college or a school, when we go to something which is that big, it, changes a lot of things because we've not been taught how to deal with that. So what are the 3 pointers if you had to give people who are just entering the industry, and we are doing that still, but we have learned a chunk of work and their how exactly the culture works. So what would be the 3 things that you've noticed and you would like other people to know?
First of all, this is probably my only advice, not out of 3. Don't be afraid of not knowing things. No one
Indeed.
knows what they are doing.
Indeed.
Like that is something no one is going to tell you, but in reality, no one knows anything. It's
I
it's
agree.
just like pretending to know things and
Exactly.
just going for it and faking confidence. I was like terrified on my first day. I was like, I don't know anything. I'm going alone. There are no other interns. What will I do? But the moment I entered the office, I saw my supervisor wearing fluffy chappal, and that reduced my anxiety so much. I was like, oh my god, she's wearing fluffy chappals. I was like, why am I so scared? She's wearing fluffy chappals. I should not be this scared. This is they are also humans. They are also living this life for the first time. So there's no reason to be so anxious and overthink and be like, oh my god, what am I going to do?
Great.
You were very anxious on your first day.
Oh, I was very anxious. I was, they told me to sit in a glass box. I told you about it because constantly I was texting you. I was like, I'm in a glass box. I don't know what to do. There were so many people there, and I was completely anxious. But then the vice president, who was, there to get me settled in, came into the room and she was like, "This must be very intimidating for you. Let's just leave the room. Let's just go upstairs and have a coffee." I love how people in the industry right now are ready to help people who are lost like us. I love that. And exactly, great advice. If you're having anxiety on your first day, just imagine them wearing a fluffy chappal.
Or listen to Super Tuna in the car. That
I
helped
mean,
me
best
as well.
advice ever. What else would what else was your experience? What did you learn? What the learning outcomes out of that internship?
Communication, definitely.
Okay.
Obviously, everyone knows how to communicate, but professionally communicating in the corporate world,
The
that is
lingo as
something-
well.
It's very tough. It's not something very easy. You need to be well versed with your words.
I
You
agree.
need to know how to talk to your client without offending them, even if they are annoying. And they are mostly annoying.
And they are mostly because they're paying you for it.
Yeah, they are paying you for it. They are expecting things, and sometimes when their expectations are not met, they might lash out on you, and you have to deal with that.
Specifically in PR. Specifically in PR.
There's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, the first or the second day when I got a professional mail and they texted EOD or short forms like this, I was completely lost. I was like, भाई ये क्या text कर रहे हैं मुझे तो समझ ही नहीं आ रहा. But the people there are very nice. Yeah.
My experience with a client was so we made social media posts for them, and after they were uploaded, the client was upset that the content was not going viral. How can we make your content go viral? And the client was selling properties. I should not reveal this much, but the client was selling properties. So what will you do after going viral? It's not like people will start buying your properties just because you are viral.
I feel like
many things did not make sense, but we had to deal with that.
I exactly. I think so. Like, I want to know your opinion on this. Considering the Instagram, like we are the Instagram generation, the social generation, things have been manipulated into being, understood in a way that if something goes viral, then only it is supposed to be consumed. What is your thought about that?
I feel like viral content definitely helps many businesses.
It indeed does.
But I don't think you need to be viral to be successful.
Exactly. Next question that I'll be asking you is that, you're a great artist according to me. I've always appreciated your art. So, what exactly inspired you to, start sketching, drawing, whatever it is?
I was just an art kid growing up.
Love that.
There was no reason why I started doing art. I just loved drawing, painting, and like as a child, my mom really appreciated me. She was like, "Oh my god, you're such a good artist," and it would be trash. It wouldn't even be that good. But the way she motivated me encouraged me to do it even more.
What stopped you for a while from doing art?
I was told that I cannot pursue art as a career, which really broke my heart. I could not pick up the pencil anymore.
Okay. To all the art kids.
To all the art kids could not pursue it.
I appreciate the little artist in you. Okay, so, talking about artistic things, it's not compulsory that you draw, you paint, or whatever. I've seen you do, you do scrapbooking, which is personally a great hobby, something I could never do. because it requires a lot of creativity and a lot of patience. And I've seen you, finding potential into trash things and making it and using it in your, scrapbooks, which I feel like it's amazing. So what inspired you to start it, and what do you want to say about your scrapbooking personally?
Okay. First of all, growing up, one of my favorite fictional characters was Tinkerbell
Okay.
because she would use scrap items and make such amazing things. And I was like, Mom, I want to be like her. And I used to save so much trash in my drawer that I used to get scolded a lot. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why is this in your drawer? This should be in the dustbin. And I was like, I see you're making something with it. So that was always there. Then
Finding
second-
potential in trash.
finding potential in trash was always there because she inspired me. She was like, she's tiny like me. I am so inspired right now.
Cheers to that.
She's wearing green. I love green.
She used to do.
I still do. Afterwards, I thought about making a sketchbook, but I hate my drawings a lot. And I always end up ruining one page. And if one page is ruined, then the entire book is ruined for me.
You lose the
Here-
motivation when that
Yeah,
happens, I
yeah.
agree.
Here, everything is out of trash. So I cannot ruin it. It's ruined already. I am not ruining it.
You're just basically giving it a
I'm trying to make it better.
Agreed.
So even if a page is not up to my expectations, it's fine. It doesn't bother me.
That is a great thing, like that's quite deep, I must say. So personally, I've worked with you a lot of times, during the past. I don't know, like we've been working for 2 to 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, I don't know.
2 years.
2 years. So during this time, I've seen people, like we're just 21 again, lose so much, like so much of their calm. Specifically me, I start hyperventilating when I'm working. So we were at this shoot in Bhateshwar, and I would like for her to explain the story more, because again I'm the one asking questions, and what exactly was her experience, what exactly went inside your head, because clearly she remained calm and I lost my cool completely. I was like, I mean, how are you so calm? How can you manage to do that? And it was very hot there. Just saying. What was your experience at the set?
So basically, we were shooting a music video there, and the actors had to be put. The actors had to walk up the stairs with alta on their feet, and our wonderful director volunteered to open the alta bottle, and he splashed it all over my jeans and my shoes, and they were light blue jeans and white and black Converse. So
I almost lost it.
it was all over my kurta as well. So and my hands as well. It was everywhere. I was just, let's continue the shoot. The shoot is more important, not whatever is happening here.
Featuring Soju.
Featuring Soju, she's finally decided to make an appearance in the last episode.
So basically, what I got out of that experience is she had alto all over her. And talking about Converse, we know how expensive they are now considering the economy. From 1500 they are like 7K. I lost my calm. I was like, how can you manage this situation? Because I've seen her be so patient and calm with people that it is personally very inspiring. Very inspiring.
Honestly, my answer just walked in. I have a cat. Obviously, I'm calm.
I have a dog. Does that mean I'm not calm?
Having a cat brings you so many lessons, and
Indeed.
teaching you patience. She taught me a lot of patience.
Fair.
This is my answer. My answer came in herself.
Please let us know about how did you get Soju?
It was during Diwali, and she was scared of fireworks, and she just walked into our house and she never left. And then one day her mom came, so we were like, "Oh my God, your mother is here to pick you." But then her mom started beating her like really bad. She had scars. So we were like, "Yeah, you're not meeting your mom again. I'm
your new mom."
I'm your mom now."
That is the soju lore,
which everyone should know.
because that's a major part of her life, you know. Talking about how, you know, we people who are artists are said to be, you know, they're very rageful, they're not calm usually, they are very stubborn about things. And considering you're a great artist,
Thank you.
but I've not seen that much of, you know, rebelliousness in you, in the fact that you don't rebel against random things that should affect people, like you reason out of it. What is something that inspires you to reason out of it? Not inspire, what taught you to be that reasonable?
I think I just grew up in that kind of environment. Like, you know, just like being angry about things will get you nowhere. That is what I learned at home.
Okay.
And, you know, having a good reason for doing things, you can get away with things. Having a reason for it, you will get away with
Fair.
it. So that is something which I grew up with in my mind, and you know, just things don't bother me like they bother most people. I'm just like, हाँ तो
हाँ तो
we just find a way out of this. Okay, हुआ. I can't reverse it.
what
I can
what
only-
more can we do?
I can only
Okay.
fix it or try
Agreed.
to fix it. So there's no point in getting angry about it or being upset about it. You can just move on. Obviously, things affect me. They upset me, but I just always life goes on. I look forward.
True. I've personally talked about a lot of unpopular opinions. What are, according to you, something that you agree about and people don't tend to agree on? You know, some topics that you feel like are to be talked about in the aspect of Beyond the Grey.
First of all, what came to my mind right off the bat was politics.
Okay. Okay.
People love being political, and it's very wrong if you are on neither side. You're not a leftist or a rightist. That's worse than being a leftist or rightist. That is what most people say. And my reply is always like, I grew up in a very. So everything has to do with my childhood. I grew up in a very politically strong environment, and you know, my father is a journalist, so I was taught a lot about politics to begin with. And the only conclusion which comes to my mind is no one is ever right, so I can't pick sides.
Fair.
There are certain incidents where one side is right and one side is wrong, but if you look at the entire picture, no one is right.
That is
And-
what Beyond the Grey is.
Yeah, that is what Beyond the Grey is. And when it comes to politics, you can't be like, oh, this person is doing right and this person is doing wrong. Everyone is doing wrong. And if you really want to keep your country democratic, you need to criticize every government.
Agreed.
You need to keep them in check. So that is my stance on politics, which many people do not like.
Fair. So, talking about what the future holds for you, what do you want to talk about that now that we are in the last semester of college?
Last semester and only like 2 months left now.
2 months, barely a month, I guess.
Yeah. So talking about my future, I really don't know what the future holds. But one thing I want to do is make little tiny videos on Instagram, which I wanted to do, like, you know, recording trips and making little
Vlogs.
compilation blogs about it, and things like that. And now I was thinking about increasing the production level and actually making little skits, maybe on music, like music videos from your favorite artists or something you write. So that is something which really excited me recently, because I was really worried about my art going downhill after joining a corporate job, which inevitably is something I will have to do. So that is what I want to do. Other than that, I want a stable job
We
for
all
a
do.
year. For a year at least. I want a stable job. I want to move out of my parents' house, which is a very big step because I've always lived here.
That is great, something to look forward to, you know, and specifically the fact that you talked about, you know, feeling like your art will go downhill, more like your childhood will end and you'll, you know, step into the corporate world and forget about how you've always been an art kid. keeping that part of your life requires a lot of initiative from one's end. And exactly what we talked about, making projects every 2 months, even if we do that just for a year or so, because after that we'll head our different ways, but keeping that part of us alive and growing more is something I look forward to as well.
Same. Another thing which I want to do is freelance work. Anything will be like, if people want me to do something, I'll try my best. But focusing on video editing, I want to do freelance work. Other than that, we'll just have to see.
Fair.
If I'm able to do something, I'll do it.
You're also interested in storyboarding, right?
Right.
See, giving your art a go. I feel like people don't know about so many jobs. We've talked about this a lot. What is your take on it? Because we are very misinformed. Even after doing a degree, we are so misinformed.
Even I was like very misinformed. I thought like joining BGMC means I have to quit on my art. That is why I stopped drawing for like 2 years. I did not pick up the pencil for 2 years, and it would break my heart every time I would see some Instagram post or some drawing, which is a lot. I am on Instagram a lot. So, after joining BGMC, I realized there are so many things, so many ways in which I can still express my art, which is not just in graphic designing, even apart from graphic designing. So, that was something which blew my mind. And I realized it's not just BGMC. There are so many other courses in which you can still do what you wanted to do. Another thing, recently the word nepotism is on the rise. So, I've seen many people use their parents' contracts and getting good internships. I feel like don't let negative words affect you. If you are a nepo baby, then just own it and go for that job. Use your connections, they will really help.
I agree. I don't think so. You should feel guilty about where you are born.
Just
Personally, I'm not saying this like a privileged person. I'm just personally saying, as an individual, don't let people be a hindrance to your growth. Like, ठीक है, अगर तुम्हें वो opportunity मिल रही है, if you're going there and you are giving your best, then I feel like that is the best thing you can do. But if you're going there just मेरे पापा ने मुझे वो job दिला दी, internship दिला दी,
I'll just sit in a corner and drink my coffee which I get here.
Exactly, that is something I
Then
think
you
that
need
is
to reflect on your
yeah,
actions.
that is a nepo baby. Actually using contacts and making something out of it, I don't think so that is a nepo baby. I feel like at the end of the day 9 से 10 तुम भी काम करके घर आ रहे हो. Doesn't matter how you got the job.
Well, I feel like we both discuss and take jobs and career and the future very seriously, which I think is problematic.
I agree. But that is the only thing that is personally keeping us on our toes and motivated towards it.
That is true, but I think we talk about these things to an extent. To the point it gets to us if something goes a little bit wrong. Something we need to work on, and something I would recommend others as well. Just focusing on one thing and obsessing over one thing is not good.
Completely.
Obviously, it's very good to look at your career and be motivated, stay motivated, but at the same time, don't be so hyper fixated on that, because many times things do not work out, and that is fine.
Fair, but I feel like considering the time that we are in, and specifically at what phase of our life we are entering, that is the only thing we have to do right now.
But doesn't that also lead to depression and suicide?
I mean, it does, but that is how the society has shaped us at the end of the day.
That is what we should change. I feel like even with the new generation, our generation, Gen Z, they are focused on not working too hard. There are so many studies
Working
and
smart.
articles that Gen Z will not work extra, and the corporate world has an issue with it. Don't work extra. Just do what you have.
We'll be the one making the corporate world at the end of the day by
We
a
are the
few
future.
years. Exactly. We are the future
We are the child.
of the world. Okay, good song reference, guys. On that note, I guess this podcast comes to an end.
This is the last episode.
Over to the host to
Okay, so if anyone watched this podcast from episode 1 till now, thank you so much for watching it. I don't think there's gonna be a single person watching this besides my mother. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom. You're the real G. She's like, what do you mean by real G? What does this mean?
real G guys. All
Real
the
G.
people who watched this till the end are the real
Are
Gs.
the real G's. Thank you for watching, and thanks to my non-existent sponsor for sponsoring this video. Bye.